Hey guys, it's David. It's May 14th. Today's Tuesday. And today I want to talk about the recently released coaching guide that Dr. Prodigy and FLC came out with. Not a whole lot, but I do want to add my own thoughts in it. And the document, if you haven't read it, you definitely should check it out. Dr. Prodigy just sort of retweeted it not too long ago. I think the document is very good. It's a small read, like it doesn't go like super in depth, but it kind of gives you a good ground philosophy, which is a strong one. I think it kind of goes into, I think the general idea from reading it that I got is, I think, a good one where it's, you want to it gives a lot of cautions about having a light touch when you're coaching, which I think is important. You don't want to you always have to avoid just trying to make the team into what your own vision is. And because you're dealing with individuals, like 4, maybe 5 or 6 individuals when you're coaching a team. And the coach is supposed to help them become the best they can be, not, especially, as individuals and as a team. So you want to grow that and get those parts moving in. You don't want to just sort of have a mold and just jam your team, whoever you're coaching, into it. And I think that's the best thing I think that the document does, is try and lay out how you should go about giving critique and how you should give and how you need to try and help the team figure it out rather than simply just tell them what to do, which is another important thing, especially when you're dealing with younger. A lot of these teams are younger, a lot of the player base is younger, and you want to help them develop, not necessarily just tell them what to do. Not like a general where it's just boom, boom, boom. And some other points that stood out to me is when they say, avoid using words like just do it, or just, get on the tower. I think that's a very, very good advice. Just is something that you should avoid in giving directions, because it kind of diminishes the challenge that you're supposed to just get on the tower. It isn't always easy, and it's kind of what I believe it was Clausewitz who was a pretty famous strategist that said, in war everything's simple, but even the simplest thing is hard. And that kind of goes to the idea that a lot of these concepts that you need people to do are very simple, but having them doing it is actually a lot more difficult, because there's 4 other people that are trying their damnedest to prevent you from doing what you want to do. So it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. The direction might be simple, but doing it is a whole nother thing. And not to mention, a lot of times you don't want to just tell people what to do. You want to get an idea of how they're thinking and figuring out what it is that, what it is in their decision making that, were they missing some sort of information that they needed to get? What were they seeing? Were they thinking someone else was going to do it? And finding out, the cause behind a decision that might seem bad, it could be more important than just simply telling, hey, that was a bad decision, that was a bad call, because it doesn't address the underlying issue that might crop up later. And they kind of go into that too, is seeing patterns, what are the patterns of mistakes that they're making, or what are the patterns that are that are working for them, that they're doing correctly, and helping them reinforce that. And they also go into that, just sort of balancing critique. I would also say a word to avoid is should. Should is almost always a judgment, you should do this. it's basically saying, hey, you have to do this. This is the right way to do it. And if you're not doing it, it's the wrong way. You're doing something wrong. That's another word to kind of avoid, that I would avoid if I was trying to coach somebody, because you don't want to make them feel like what they're doing is wrong. You just want to suggest a better way to do it, or perhaps a more effective way to do it. Not necessarily, you want to do it without judgment, as little judgment as possible, because at the same time, the second you start judging them, they start thinking about it. And if you ever run like the inner game of tennis or anything that I've suggested before, once you get into that, they kind of go over like, hey, if the player starts getting in their own head, thinking about what they should and shouldn't do, then they stop playing the game as effectively, because they're like second guessing themselves constantly. It makes things less effective if they start to worry. But overall, solid. I might talk a little more about, maybe not. But overall, it's a solid document. You should definitely give it a read. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.